on this computer. Okay. Good morning, everybody. I am here with my buddy, Corey Bass. He is the business development manager for the Charlotte Knights. Corey, thank you so much for coming today and giving me a few minutes of your time to talk about your experience and everything with all this wonderful world of COVID.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the opportunity to come on and talk with you. And it has definitely been a unique 6 months, to say the least. And hopefully there's some light at the end of the tunnel. We just got to find it.
Yeah, I hope so. I agree with you. So for those of you that, or for so many people that don't know who you are and your background, give us a history of where you started in the industry, what inspired you to get into sports, and then a little bit of what you do now with the Charlotte Knights.
Yeah, absolutely. No, the sports industry is sort of my family business. My father, Jimmy Bass, is the athletic director at UNC Wilmington. And so I grew up through his transition from spot to spot. I grew up in this industry, whether it be in locker rooms or stadiums and arenas. And so this is all I've really ever known. Got my bachelor's and master's degree from East Carolina University, played football there for Skip Holtz. And then had the chance to, right out of grad school, or while I was in grad school, I worked with the Carolina Mudcats, which at the time were the AA affiliate of the Florida Marlins, and was just in a business development, community type role, wore a bunch of different hats, worked with the Southern League All-Star game when I was there. So I think the first thing I've learned is that anyone that thinks they want to work in sports should get into minor league baseball as early as they can in their career, because you see the good, bad, and the ugly of the industry, and you wear hats of all styles and colors when working in minor league baseball. So had the opportunity to then go back to East Carolina as a sports marketing grad assistant while I finished my master's work, and then was lucky enough to join Ben Sutton and his team at what was then ISP Sports, which is now then went to IMG College in Learfield, what is now Learfield IMG. Started the Elon with them in a business development role. Had the opportunity to then join the football staff at Elon and followed Pete Limbo, who was our head coach, to Ball State from there. Long story short, got back into the business development side of things with IMG with one of my closest mentors in the business, Megan Hinchin, at my alma mater, East Carolina. And then I've had a number of stops since then with Learfield IMG at including the University of North Carolina. I've served in a fundraising role at High Point University in the athletic department. And then finally, here I am with the Charlotte Knights, the AAA affiliate of the Chicago White Sox, working as a business development manager and working with businesses of all sizes here in the Charlotte area in trying to utilize our assets to get their message out to Charlotte and our surrounding communities. I thought that's what I'd signed up for, and then COVID came, and so now, speaking of wearing all hats, I've done a little bit of everything over the past 6 months.
So going through that and going through the trying to figure out what happens. I mean, all of a sudden COVID hits, and at least with minor league, there was the idea that, okay, maybe July, maybe after what we thought was going to be the All-Star break, maybe we'll start then. Who knows what's going to happen? But, at that point, you're picking up the phone and making every phone call you can to delay, fill in everybody, season ticket holders, corporate sponsors, and so forth. Walk us through, because those of us that have been employed in the minor leagues know what that moment felt like when you got kicked in the gut and you get the phone call that says, guys, I'm sorry, season's been canceled. Walk us through what that moment was and for you, and then maybe some of the successes and failures that you've experienced since then with relationships of your corporate sponsors or your season ticket holders or even coworkers.
Yeah, no, it's been a unique set of challenges, and it has, we started preparing in late March, like you said, to, first it was let's push back and we'll hopefully start in May. Then it was, let's push back to Memorial Day and look at what numbers may look like there. And then it was June. And no matter how much we saw the writing on the wall, when you get that official news on July 1st, June 30th, July 1st, I guess somewhere in that time when minor league baseball made it official, as prepared as we were and as teed up as we had everything ready to go to start the process of rebuilding, you just take a pause and say, wow, this is a really tough day for everybody. And, our organization has, we've gone through some changes with our staff. Our COO, Dan Rakowski, and our GM, Rob Egan, have done everything in their power to help keep as many folks going right now as they possibly could. And so, we had worked for 2 months on, prorating deals, finding, excuse me, finding ways to add value to some of these deals to, if the season was able to get going, how can we keep as much money as possible on the books, to then July 1st and around that holiday to, okay, we got to flip the switch and we've got to try to retain as much of this money as we can and roll it over. And so, we have been extremely blessed from some of our founding partners, whether it be Truist. We went through a rebrand of our ballpark with the naming rights after BB&T and SunTrust merged during this whole thing. So it has been unbelievable. But like I said, we've been blessed that a majority of our folks and businesses of all sizes have understood our plight and have really committed and made commitments to us to move forward towards 2021. We took the whole month of July and probably half of August to lick our wounds a little bit, have conversations to try to keep things going and keep the lights on. To now we've flipped the page to 2021. The tough part with flipping the page to 2021 is we have no idea what that looks like. We don't know capacity yet here in the state of North Carolina. We don't know schedule. We don't know when we're going to be able to get started. So there are just so many unknowns, but we've got to, we just got to go to work and find folks that are ready. I do think there are industries right now that have seen tremendous growth during this period and have been able to get a lot done. And so we're trying to focus there. And then the final thing I say is, when we got the official word July 1st or late June, when we had a good idea into July, we've turned Truist Field into every type of venue you could think of. We've set up restaurant pods throughout the stadium so that we could meet the requirements from the local and statewide health officials and the CDC to be able to at least have some folks to get their comfort level of coming back into the stadium and having events. And, I think in the long run, whether it be a disc golf, we've turned the field into a disc golf course. We have hosted a dance recital for over 700 dancers over a 3-day stretch where we cycled folks in and out in an hour-long session and then cleaned the stadium and started over. We've had
brutal.
Yeah. It was a interesting weekend. We've had a comedian stand on home plate and do his show. There's not much we're not open to doing right now, as long as it stays within the guidelines that have been set forth. The silver lining in all of this is I think we've seen that we're not just a baseball stadium and that we can be an entertainment venue, a multi-purpose venue moving forward. And I think that provides a tremendous opportunity not only for the Charlotte Knights organization, but our corporate partners and being able to reach different audiences and different types of events.
So that being said, you mentioned going on and talking about the grind because, again, at this point, usually you're doing renewals, you're pushing renewals, making sure your corporate sponsors from the year before were happy, your season ticket holders are happy. I mean, it's just thank you notes. And typically this time of year, it's thank you notes, thank you gifts, and referral requests. As we try to prepare for the 2021 season, what are some of the things that you're hoping, praying, envisioning culturally as a baseball community that you're seeing within your team, but also across the entire community?
I think the biggest thing that we've had to do over the past couple of months is make sure our partners are okay. We're not the only ones struggling right now. And I think the human element of business development and relationships with season ticket holders, I think that has taken over in recent weeks. And I think that's something that we're going to have to focus on. We're not, as we're asking folks to roll over or whatever that may be, we've got to be good partners in this thing too. And if it's, some of our restaurant partners have taken an absolute beating, hotel partners and other industries that have been affected by these shutdowns and non-essential, whatever you want to call them. So, I think being major partners from our side too, on whatever we can do to take care of these folks. We've gotten in the community, the Knights organization for a long time has done a great job with its community service. But we are in the community almost nonstop right now. And I think we have to become a pillar, even more so, a stronger pillar in our community. And I think folks have got to know that when they deal with us, what you see is what you get. We're going to take as good a care as we possibly can of you. And you know what? If this thing, God forbid, doesn't break or doesn't allow us to be at 100% capacity for 100% of the season, trust us that we're going to get you taken care of next year. And, we're having to think of things in a different way, whether it be tickets and pricing and corporate partnership pricing. And we've just got to be creative. I think the other thing is, we're developing programs, not only from a health and safety standpoint, but also from a social justice standpoint. And we're having to come up with creative ways to be able to impact the Charlotte community. So I think it can't just be traditional. Our efforts can't be traditional anymore. We're not going to see just a bunch of traditional branding partners and platforms. We've got to be very creative in what we're doing, and we've got to work harder than we've ever worked. And, we're going to get told no a lot, and we've got to be okay with that.
I think the word that I've heard consistently from everyone is resilient. We've got to just find a way to be more resilient. And I say we because that means everybody, from ownership all the way down to game day operations people, to ticket takers, to everybody. I mean, everyone needs to think, okay, how can I make this organization to the next level? How can I take our groups and take them to the next experience? Because people are going to be ready to get out and move once that dam opens up, and I think it's one of those things that I've heard many times from a friend of mine, Frosty. He always says, at least with the short-term season, like you guys have 100 hours, obviously with double the games, you have 200 hours plus to make during your season, to make the biggest impact on one individual's life, whether you've done it on all 10,000 of your fans, 5,000 of your fans, or 200 of your fans. It doesn't matter the size. All that matters is how can I take my platform that we are on, that we're privileged to work for, and take that human element and take it to the next level. So I think you're absolutely correct with the way that you guys are looking at it and how you're envisioning the culture. So to kind of end this on a little bit fun, more to lighter note, during COVID, what's something that you've done differently or something that you've learned, maybe achieved?
I think to slow down a little bit in everything I do. We, for so long, and I grew up this way, and my father's the same way now, and I've always been this way. You grind and you grind and you grind, and you never take a deep breath, and you never figure out how tired you are or whatever it may be, just because you love what you're doing. Well, we didn't have a choice in March and April and May, but to sit there and slow down and refocus. So I've become much more focused on probably what's important in life with my sons and that type thing. And I think the other thing is, this whole coronavirus situation, we work in a really cool industry, and I haven't known what to do for 3 months without, thank goodness the NHL and NBA and Major League Baseball came back, because I didn't know what to do. And that probably tells me more about myself. I got to get figured out. But, we work in a really exciting industry that can bring joy to people's lives and can be an escape. And, our thought right now is that, there's a legitimate chance that minor league baseball in 2021 is the first time large crowds are able to get back together and comfortably do that. And hopefully we are at that point. So, we just keep telling ourselves, push through it. You talked about resiliency, just gut through this. And opening night of 2021 is going to be absolutely unbelievable. So, I think the biggest thing is just getting priorities in order, being extremely blessed that as difficult of a time that this is, we're still fighting the battles. And just the other thing is I've been able to reconnect with folks that I would have never had the time, or I would have, unfortunately, whether it be their career, my career, whatever it was, we wouldn't have had the time to do that. So reconnecting with friends and developing relationships, because, we've seen how quickly all this can be taken away. And when it's all taken away, that's all you've got. And so I've tried to apply that at work too, and in dealing with clients and coworkers and everything. And, we'll see where it gets us, but it's been a challenging time, but I do think there's some light at the end of the tunnel, and we're going to get there, and it's going to be exciting when it's all back.
No, I agree 100%. Corey, thank you so much for your time, and keep an eye on the blog. And what I'll do is I'll tag you. And if people have any extra questions, feel free to reach out. Corey is on LinkedIn as well. Feel free to reach out directly. Thanks.